So it's been about pretty close to 3 weeks that I've been on my second go around here of enlightenment. First time was a disaster. That was about 2 weeks worth. Of course, I was just getting off of being really sick and, you know, Christmas time and all that. And so I'm not going to blame the failure of that particular, although it just did the whole system or distro just sort of fell apart before my eyes. It was amazing. So, for the most part, I'm starting to enjoy this now. But like anything, if you don't know it, you fear it, and if you know it, it's easy. So I'm starting to know it. I'm starting to get to know it, which makes life a lot easier. Oh, I still have some little quirky things going on that I'm gonna pretty much attribute to pipe wire, possibly Wayland, and the distro itself, not the distro, but the desktop. I don't know if you can get this distro with other desktops. Um, I was tried to find information about that for. I went back and listened to Glenn um, MacArthur, I guess MacArthur. Listen to his video again, which is really helpful. I mean, he's really doing a great job to trying, putting this huge thing on his shoulders and carrying it out. Um, and I understand basically why he changed everything up so much in order to stick with the MX people, and I completely understand. I can also see how they talked him into some things because some of the things that are going on here are quite extraordinary. Now, my one gripe with the desktop is is the terminal. That's still my main gripe. I I didn't like before I get into that. I didn't like how long it took me to get the desktop to look the way that I wanted it to look. It literally just took me hours and hours. Maybe that's my own old dummy guy trying to do it, but I have spent, I've had other distros that I'm still run. I mean, I literally have a Manjaro computer, I have an Ubuntu computer, and I have um, now I have that Mint computer, which that's just a beautiful thing. And then I have this Enlightenment desktop. So it's not like I can't notice differences. The Ubuntu Studio, by the way, that's KDE. The other two are XFCE. This one here is the Enlightenment with the terminology terminal. I don't know if I already said about not having a keystroke to open terminology or to close terminology, but that seems like a no-brainer to me. I mean, I still hit control, um, you know, whatever that is, control alt T, you know, and then to get out of it. So like on the Manjaro one, it's control alt T to get in and control alt T to get out. On uh, Mint, it's Control Alt D to get in, T to get in, and Control Shift Q to get out. And that's the same with the Ubuntu or KDE. Same thing, exact. This has nothing that I can figure out. Maybe it just has nothing. I'm hoping, because if I can find somewhere where it says, yeah, you got to just use the mouse to click on the icon to get into it, I will stop looking for it. But so far, I have not had that definitive, answer. Now, past those two gripes, I mentioned how difficult it was to try to turn get the desktop looking the way I wanted. And I'm happy with it now. And once I got into terminology and started using it, I realized how fantastic it is, actually, and how broad it is in its scope. I mean, how many of the package languages and everything that has been written into terminals in the Debian based systems is in terminology. Probably some other stuff. I don't think it speaks Arch, Pac-Man or anything like that, but certainly everything that's in the Debian system, it doesn't have a problem with. So that was sort of enlightening to me, and I felt even a little enlightened after I figured that out. Of course, it helps to have these other different computers that run different programs on it. I've done that purposefully so I can, check out the differences in real, live action computers, not virtual machines that people seem to like to watch those. I stopped watching those because after I figured out how limited a virtual machine is without a giant pile of rigmarole, I just didn't see the point. I'm not seeing the guts. I'm just seeing the outside surface of everything. All right, so I think we covered the terminology part of this. Now that I have it looking good, though, I'm real happy. And now that I've discovered how awesome terminology is, I'm pretty happy about that. I'm still going to complain about clicking to get into a terminal because it should be keyboard based. That's all there is to it. Should be 2 or 3, keys to get in and 2 or 3 keys to get out. 1 would be nice. But I understand that they have so many different things that this thing does. If you hit the wrong combination, no telling what will happen. Okay, let's move on to this Wayland thing. Wayland. I understand about it. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm going to give you some kind of technically perfect explanation of this thing because I'm not technically perfect. But it's basically kind of the protocol or program that loops back whatever you feed into a piece of software or a piece of the distro. It sends you back pictures or whatever it is that you're looking for, and it's instrumental in that discourse between the human and the computer. So I kind of get what it does, and I know that it's replacing C11, and I read about both of them, and I can see why they're doing it. I just don't know that it's completely ready. Maybe it's getting more and more ready. Hopefully. Hopefully it's going to be perfect soon. All right. The other part of this is that I have very mixed emotions about, and that's Pipewire. Just for this reason, you see it, a little bit of latency that's happening right now. Yeah, I don't understand that. It was working just perfectly. Now I can see it. It's a little bit of latency. It's running at 46 FPS, and the CPU is being taxed about the same, about 13-14%. So no real difference other than I think pipe wires at work. Pipe wire at work. Yeah. It's latency, which I don't like, don't appreciate. And it's unnecessary, as powerful as this computer is. Should not be doing that. That being said, I spent a whole lot of time yesterday, or it could be the day before, in Ardor or Adore, another, whichever way you want to pronounce it. And everything worked great. I built a template. I got booted up some synths, and I did about 6 of them. The 3 of them were just dedicated to different drum machines and drum sets, 2 trap sets and a percussion. I couldn't find any other. Well, I haven't looked at all. I'll take that back. I haven't looked at every single drum, you know, plug-in that's in Ardor. But it all went very smoothly. It all sounded really good. And that's the other thing I want to say is that, I like I've told you before, I am profoundly deaf in this ear. And too many years of standing in front of a twin reverb on 10. I actually had some kid that I worked for me a few years ago, and I gave him I forget the little amplifier that I had, and I had rebuilt a Gibson Destroyer that had a broken neck, and he just was lusting after it so bad. So I let the kid work for about a week or so, and then I just let him have that and the amp. So he came back one day and was asking me what my settings were. And I go, well, when I first started playing, I just took my palm of my hand and I went, and I just turned everything on 10. And seemed to sound pretty good. And after a while, I started turning the mids down a little bit. But I always cranked the bass and the treble full tilt. And I always pretty much, I didn't do it, later on in life. I would probably play on about, I don't know, 6 to 8, somewhere in there, depending on the room. It was still really loud because I either had, I was either playing a twin reverb, and then I traded it in to get a lighter amplifier, so I got myself a Music Man 210, Both of those amps are worth small fortunes now, and I wish I had them, but I don't. I don't have any amplifiers. I'm thinking about trying to get one, getting a little Fender, sidekick or something like that. Anyway, um, so the sound, I like the way it's, and I don't know if that's a product of the machine or pipe wire or whatever, but the sound seems to have more presence to it. I don't know how to explain it really. It's not about volume. I mean, you can give volume. It just seems to be maybe a little cleaner and tighter sound wise. I don't know how to explain it actually. Has more presence, I guess. And and I just hope that they work out all the other little bugs. I can also see the beauty of pipe wire and where it's going because I have to come in here every day, which I didn't do this time. I have not gone into um, the mixer, the advanced mixer, and turned all the other junk off. So maybe that's what's causing this latency. It's trying to work too hard, making these other things run unnecessarily. Well, I'm not going to worry too much about it. It's not that bad, but it's, you know, a better part of a second, I would say, latency. So, overall, in general, I think everything's trucking along now, doing pretty good. Um, I'm hoping for some, some good updates here um, and upgrades to make the system even better. I'm really hoping to get Pipewire straight. I mean, really straight. As good as ALSA was on AVL MX21. That was the best sounding distro. And believe me, I've thought about going back because from what I've read, that distro is going to be kind of basically taken care of till about 2026. But I'm having fun with this one, and it looks good. The other thing too that I notice is this distro is making my CPU run about 5 degrees cooler. I have no idea. In the other distro, it was, on average, it was at 40, 41 centigrade. And then if I did anything like, rendering a video or doing something like that, it would move up to maybe 45 degrees or 46. I think the hottest I ever saw it was about 47 degrees. That's centigrade, not Fahrenheit, for all you Americans out there. So, but now it's, I can see it right here. Yeah, it's running at 38. So I would say that's almost more than 5 degrees difference. I have yet to see this machine pop up to 40. Now I haven't rendered any videos, from anywhere yet. But I always like to check all that stuff. I'm glad that they at least, have all this stuff where you can check it very easily. Like my right here, I don't know if this is part of, I'm just used to seeing this because I've been running MX. But I don't know if this is on all OBS. I don't recall it being on, well, maybe so. Maybe when you record it comes on. But, the CPU's being taxed at about 13%. I'm getting about 47 FPS. out of a 30 FPS webcam. Great webcam. I might do a video on it and compare it to, my C920 and my Zoom camera, some other things I got. Anyway, that's all I got to say about this. This guy is kind of intriguing. I typed in Enlightened being, and that's one of the guys that spit out. The others were so crazy. He's pretty crazy, but I don't know. He's definitely going off into the ether, some one way or the other. Okay, everybody, I want to put an end to this one. This is just a little update on enlightenment. I'm feeling more enlightened. I don't feel like an enlightened guy. I certainly don't feel like him. But things are getting better for me here. I'm feeling a little more comfortable. And the next time I talk about enlightenment, we will be going on a tour as soon as I'm confident that the sound's going to be okay. But I have a whole lot of other stuff on my plate, so it might be a while before I get to that. Anyway, buenas noches, mi amigos y mi amigas, and for the rest of us, good night. Oops. Again.